So now that we have an idea on how to get started, Ariana and Christina, Cypher from UN Environment is wondering what kind of expertise, what skills and resources would I be typically needing to launch a blockchain project? Can you say a little bit about that, please?
Yeah, sure. So I think it's an interesting question around how to launch a project. So there's multiple approaches to launching a project, and we've seen different agencies across the UN take different approaches, and there's no one right way to doing this. Some agencies will engage an external team to do their development of a blockchain project. Some will build in-house. And in our case specifically, and if I use the Atrium as an example of a blockchain product that we did develop within the UN, that was a group of blockchain developers, so people who are familiar with blockchain. There was a design team. Obviously, you've seen how beautiful it is, so working very closely with the designers, and then a group of strategists. And so having those three skill sets of developers, designers, and that's really on the user interface, user experience, so UX, UI, and then the strategists all work together, and this was really the core team during the entire process, all the way from inception through to launch, working together, making sure that we were getting constant user feedback on the elements that we included in the platform. And so that would mean creating, mock-ups of what a screen would look like, bringing that out to users and testing it with them, and then making the appropriate changes based off of that. And you'll notice that a blockchain product like the Atrium, so you might be wondering, how is the Atrium blockchain enabled? Well, you can actually earn blockchain-based badges by reading some of those learning resources that Ariana mentioned. And so you'll actually earn your first blockchain-based badge from the Atrium. And so it's really having an interdisciplinary team and having people who are familiar with blockchain technology, whether that be in-house or using an external vendor to help you with that. That would be kind of the typical makeup that you would see for a blockchain project.
Thanks, Christina. And in terms of costs, are we looking at exorbitant numbers, or something that can be called somewhat affordable?
Yeah, so I also think that that's a good question. I feel like there's often a misconception that blockchain projects cost more than other projects, and that's not necessarily the case. It's just about having the right people with the right skill sets to be able to do that. The other thing that the Atrium enables is actually to be able to share assets that have already been created across UN agencies. So the whole idea is we don't want you to start from scratch. You shouldn't have to develop an entirely new application. For example, if you're looking to develop certificates on a blockchain, that's already been done within the UN. And so if we can foster this sense of collaboration, where we're willing to share our applications that have been created, we reduce the overall development time. And I can use a specific example of where we did this almost a year ago with the World Food Program, where UNICEF had created a certificates application. We had used it in Kazakhstan, in our Kazakhstan country office. And we were with the World Food Program in Munich, and they wanted to issue certificates via blockchain to all of the boot camp participants. And instead of starting from scratch, they were able to go to the Atrium, take the code that UNICEF had already developed, and launch these certificates in under 1 day, because they didn't have to start from scratch. They saved 90% development time by being able to do that. And so that's what we're hoping we'll see more and more of through the Atrium, really trying to reduce the barrier to innovation and ultimately reduce the cost and collaborate across UN entities.